A WrestleMania main event is set, which causes so many tears when we had eyes-watering 3 separate times, so proceed with caution, but just keep watching. Welcome to the Doktor O'Kay Show. I'm Doktor O'Kay, where we're always just keeping it real, and this is SmackDown from London, England. So let's start with the matches and just keep being deadlier, with the Street Profits being just a bit too deadly for Pretty Deadly when they land a doomsday blockbuster to retain the WWE Tag Team Championship. So the Street Profits are the one, and they took Pretty Deadly's best shot, but it was still not enough as they get their first defense and have 3 wins in 3 weeks. So they are 3-0 in traditional tags, and Pretty Deadly is the 2s, and they showed good team chemistry with several team moves, including a catapult codebreaker and their spilt milk finisher. But that was broken up, and they even had Kit Wilson take a From the Heavens for Prince, but they're now just 1-3-1 in traditional tags. And I will note early on that Montez Ford walked right between both of his competitors with his arms out, so that made it a pretty easy double shoulder toss. And for Ford, a what were you thinking? But this may not have been Pretty Deadly's day, but both teams worked well together, so this was pretty good and gets and okay. Second, we're just keeping a secret as the Secret Hervice wins their first match together and competed in full uniform, finishing it off with a Piper driver. So the Hervice is the ones, as Piper had a big cannonball onto both Carter and Chance early on, and then they won when Chelsea distracted the ref, which let Fire yank Chance's legs off of the top rope before she could do her 450 splash, and this left Carter vulnerable to push Chance off of the apron and right into that Piper driver. So the Hervice is 1-0. But that means Carter and Chance are the 2s, but did you see how amazing they looked here? What a crime this is for this to be their first match together since July 15th, 2024. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But Carter had the incredible strength to land a Samoan drop on Piper Niven, and they did get the party started with a cake stand. However, it was that dastardly Chelsea getting in the way, so Carter and Chance are 1-0. But then after the match, the Hervice and Chelsea attacked Carter and Chance, but admittedly mostly on cadence, so Zelina tried to make the save, and despite some quick success, the numbers game got the best of her, and she got hit with a senton by Piper. So it will be fines for Piper, Alba, and Chelsea, and maybe Carter and Chance were a bit rusty, but they are still so good, and I guess that means the Hervice was pretty good too for their first match, so we'll give it an okay. Third, we just keep stopping the Strowman Express as Jacob Fatu comes out of nowhere to stop a freight train in its tracks, and also stop the US title match in its tracks, so it was a no contest. So we'll give Strowman the 1s here, and he was attacked first, and I'd like to give him the DQ win for that, but that is not the official ruling, so he is 3-1-1 in one-on-one matches, but I certainly hope he gets another shot at gold. Since returning in May, he is 9-3-1, but that was just his first chance. And for Knight, he is the 2s, and he had a bulldog from the middle rope and a megastar elbow, but he was the one that was in trouble before this match ended. Still, he remains undefeated at 5-0-1 in one-on-one matches. And for Jacob Fatu, he of course did not stop by stopping that freight train, as he briefly attacked Knight ringside and also landed a pop-up Samoan drop on him. But his main focus was on Strowman, and he did a Samoan onto the announce table, 3 hip attacks, and 2 mighty moonsaults before he finally walked away. So he does get a 1-week suspension for interfering in a title match. And then Sikoa and Fatu yelled at each other backstage, with Fatu saying that they didn't check in with him last week before interfering, and that he will be the last man standing against Strowman. And come to think about it, that sounds like a pretty good idea for a match to me. And with Fatu 1-5 in singles matches this year, he simply has no business interfering against 2 guys who actually win matches, so this of course gets a double not okay. Fourth, we just keep watching what you eat, but make no mistake, Charlotte is both royalty and a goddess, but Michin landed eat defeat, and Charlotte would have lost if she didn't get her foot on the bottom rope, and then Michin hit her foot on the steel steps on a missed kick, so Charlotte locked in that figure 8 to get the submission win. And so Charlotte is the ones, and she better get that ring rust off quickly if she wants to beat Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania, as she was mostly out-wrestled by Michin here. And her only real highlight here was 4 big chops to the chest, but she is a savvy veteran to get this win and is 2-0 in one-on-one matches. And then Michin is the 2s, and she was impressive with a tornado DDT, sit-out powerbomb, and of course, eat defeat. And this was especially impressive considering that she was attacked by Naomi before the match, and she was so affected that she took a big boot from Charlotte right after the bell. But we will note that B-Fab took the brunt of the attack by Naomi until Jade Cargill ran down the ramp to save B-Fab, and when she saw Jade running down, she was the one to run away and get away without any damage. So Naomi does pick up a fine here, but Michin picks up a loss to go to 2-3. Then Jackie interviewed Tiffy after the match, and she simply repeated back what Charlotte said last week, which is something an undeserving, delusional, unoriginal, backflip-doing, blonde hair-having little girl would say when they're simply outmatched by the Queen. So we need to see better from the Queen in the ring, so the match gets a not okay, but we definitely need to hear more from Tiffy if she wants it to remain Tiffy time after WrestleMania, so she gets a double not okay. Next, we just keep making the SportsZu look like an idiot that he is, as Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre certainly did not give us a WrestleMania-worthy match, and since that's the match that SportsZu seems to want, well, instead we just had Kevin Owens distract Orton, and McIntyre landed a Claymore to get the win. So McIntyre is the ones, and he was actually in pretty bad shape here, but he took advantage of an opening and stole the win, so he's back to 500 at 3-3 in one-on-one matches. And as McIntyre was leaving the building, Priest was the one who sent him south of heaven with a chokeslam through a windshield of a BMW, and Priest also sent the owner of the car through a table. So yeah, we have to give him a full month suspension for that. That means Orton is the 2s, and he seemed to be playing all the hits with a side slam onto the announce table, his patented power slam, and that draping DDT. And when the Viper was just about to strike, he was distracted by KO and that costume, so he's 1-1 in 2025. And then Owens grabbed a defeated Orton after the match and slammed his head onto the announce table, which perhaps woke up those voices in Orton's head as he was able to get out of a package pile driver and lined up for that punt, but KO ran away through the crowd, but KO does not get to run away from a fine, and perhaps a couple snide remarks earlier in the night didn't really heat this match up, as it never really got out of second gear, and I guess we have to say, just like the SportsZu would, we would expect so much more out of them, so it gets a not okay. And in our main event, we just keep not being it kicks, as Miz missed his big it kick, which gave Jimmy Uso the opening for a super kick and an Uso splash to pick up the win. So Big Jim is the ones, as he called the Miz's bluff about slapping him just like the way that he did to Gunther on Monday night. And so he got himself this match as a preview of what he plans to do to Gunther on this upcoming Monday. And just like he says Jay will do as well at WrestleMania. And of course, I don't know about any of that, but he did get the win to improve to 2-1 in one-on-one matches. So The Miz is the 2s, and he continues to have his mouth write checks that he cannot cash, and he really just needs to stop with going for that one final it kick at the end, because he seems to miss it about 95% of the time, so he goes to 0-4 in one-on-one matches. And no, I can't believe this was the last match of the night, because it was certainly not it. And it's also double not okay. And with that, let's go beyond the mat for SmackDown as Cody Rhodes started the show, or come to think about it, the crowd really started the show as they certainly hijacked it for themselves, but maybe that was a good thing because Rhodes has said nothing worthwhile in months. But then Randy Orton joined Rhodes and said he was proud of him, giving him 99.9% of the credit for WWE's success, which is obviously way too high, but at least that means he's not giving that other guy that Rhodes beat at last year's WrestleMania any credit whatsoever. And I guess that is good enough for me, and it was also good enough to make Rhodes start to tear up. But Orton said he will kick KO's head off at WrestleMania and then will eventually look Rhodes in the eye and tell him that he's coming for his title. But when Drew McIntyre heard this, he came to the ring telling Randy Orton that he has done nothing since his return except for being put back onto the shelf for months. So he told Orton to go back to the end of the line, and for some reason that made Rhodes inexplicably do his kick drop punch combo, and Orton almost got it in an RKO, but McIntyre avoided it and rolled away. So Rhodes and Orton will pick up fines, and this started a pattern of the crowd occupying most of the oxygen in the room, so it gets a double not okay. Apparently, the WWE is now inducting immortal moments into the WWE Hall of Fame, and so the first of those will be the WrestleMania 13 match between Steve Austin and Bret Hart. And I suppose any excuse you can make to get both of these legends in front of a paying crowd, I guess it's a good thing, but it certainly seems like a cheap trick, so it gets a not okay. Right before Naomi attacked Michin and B-Fab, Naomi had another vignette where she said she's always done the right thing, which made her tear up as well, and said that Jade came out of nowhere to take her place, and also called out Bianca at the same time. So she is done being the third wheel and advises Jade to also proceed with caution, and no amount of tears will make Naomi's action the right action here, but at least she means business. So we'll get to see Naomi take on B-Fab next week, and this gets an okay. We got another vignette with that mysterious number 4, but no resolution there. We did, however, get a resolution to who our orange luchador is, and it is Rey Fenix, the brother of Penta. And I guess it's not surprising that he's here, but it is surprising that he's not going to be lucha-ing with his brother. So I guess that's good enough for us to give it an okay. And lastly, we had a contract signing for the triple threat match between Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk, and the crowd again stole the show, which is okay because that means we had less we had to hear from Roman Reigns. But when Rollins came out, he said that they accomplished their mission, but Reigns said that we died a long time ago and he did all of the work, which is, of course, that means we have to get to the part where I have to say that this guy does no work whatsoever, as he has 19 total matches since SummerSlam in 2022. Yeah, that's right, in 32 months, he has just 19 matches, which is less than one match every 2 months for almost 3 years now. And of course, this was just the 5th total appearance for Roman Reigns in 13 weeks of shows that we've had so far in 2025. And then there's still this ongoing streak of 11 straight singles matches in which he's needed help to try to win. And of course, that means there is no one bigger of a liar than Roman Reigns was here. But when CM Punk finally arrived, he reviewed the contract, and Paul Heyman eventually told him that contract says that this match will close the show of WrestleMania. So CM Punk got teary-eyed as well, which is our 3rd set of tears on this particular show, and that means he finally achieved his goal to become a WrestleMania main eventer. So Punk thanked everyone, especially the fans, but that horrendous Roman Reigns said he should be thanking his tribal chief instead, so Punk actually did thank him. But he concluded saying that's not the favor that he's owed. And if it's not, what does Paul Heyman still owe to CM Punk? But let me make this clear, these 3 men may be popular, but they have a combined record in singles matches in the last calendar year of 10, 13, 2-1. And they are 0-3 in title matches. So for as bad as Jey Uso has been in trying to work up the confidence to beat Gunther, at least those two are a whopping 34-7 in singles matches in the last year and 8-5 in titles matches. So based on that alone, those two should be main eventing and not these three jokers in the ring. But while Roman Reigns and the crowd were thoroughly obnoxious here, at least CM Punk's heartfelt moment saved it from a complete waste of our time because it really occupied a lot of time for absolutely nothing happening, so it gets a not okay. It's safe to say we now know both main events for WrestleMania, but we are no closer to filling that WrestleMania card with it just a few weeks from now. And if you missed SportsZu's video trying to get all 31 women onto WrestleMania weekend in 7 matches, be sure to go right on over here and check that out. Because if you don't, just like putting these 3 dudes with an under 500 record in the main event, that would be double not okay.